Welcome back to Grinding to a Halt. This week, I'm having a conversation with myself. I had an episode, interviewed a guest, everything was great, awesome conversation, and then I lost the episode. File got corrupted. It happens. I'm not an audio guy. I don't know how to fix it, so we press on. So I figured I would talk about a few things that have come up since I started the show, some questions people have asked, and then just give a brief comment on a post that I had made on LinkedIn that got me some blowback. So this one's going to be a little different, but we'll see how it works out. All right, so the main question I have been getting is, with the concept of your show being not grinding yourself out, being anti-grind set culture, and really focusing on finding balance of work and life, are you then going against the concept of your own show by having a day job, having a family, having a personal life, being active, and trying to build a podcast, build something on top of it? And I don't know if I have an answer to that question. Is it the thing that I'm saying I am against? I don't think so. And when I think about it, when someone asks me that question and I really kind of try to internalize it, it doesn't feel like work. It is tiring. It can be stressful. It is a lot of planning. A lot goes into teaching myself how to edit audio, trying to put together video, to put them across multiple platforms, to try to promote the show, constantly reaching out to people I don't know to try to book them. A lot goes into it. But there is a creative outlet to it where it is energizing. So for me, with it being something I find refreshing and energizing and not something that feels like another thing I have to do, to me, it isn't against the conceit of the entire show. Would everybody agree with that? Probably not. And I mean, I really don't care. This isn't really for anyone else. I started it because I wanted something I could do. I wanted to have conversations with people I find interesting, or people I look up to, or people whose work I really enjoy. And so far I've accomplished that. There are more listeners than I thought there would be this early on, which is encouraging, that it is finding an audience, no matter how small it may be. It is finding an audience, and people are enjoying it from the feedback I have gotten. And I want to push to grow it bigger. I want it to be better. I want it to be something that becomes sustainable in and of itself and can attract bigger guests, larger names that I want to have on the show. But to me, there's no point of it where it feels like I'm tricking anyone or telling people not to do a thing that I am then doing. So for me, no, I don't really feel that it is that. But again, people could completely disagree with me. And if I'm being 100% honest, to me this feels like the closest version of myself that I can do in a quote-unquote professional setting. It is very unfiltered. It is very much me being vulnerable in ways that I think a lot of people would be uncomfortable with, not only in front of an audience, but especially in a work setting. So for me, there is importance around having conversations about mental health, about not finding fulfillment in your work, about having things that are still lacking in what you do, even if you love your job. You can love your job and it not check all the boxes that you need to be the most fully realized version of yourself. So for me, that is really where the sweet spot of this show is that it's saying, hey, I do all these other things. I still need something else. Going back to the first episode with Kaveh, I feel like that is very much something that he talks about of, there's fulfillment in his work. His job is legitimately important, but he needs that creative outlet. He needs to have those conversations. There's other things he wants to do outside of that. So very much the same. My job is definitely not as important as his, but it is important that I still find outlets that have meaning to me. Okay, part 2. Making people really mad with you on LinkedIn. So this isn't the first time this has happened to me. I would go as far as to guarantee with 100% certainty that it will not be the last. But last week, I hopped on a LinkedIn trend. So about once or twice a week, you'll see a new trend pop up, whether it be a certain keyword or a topic that people are posting on to try to gain some traction. So at the first of the year, people were doing their 2023 recaps and their 2024 resolutions and predictions. So I just put together a quick, hey, here's 3 things that I think we will continue to see be talked about in 2024. And I got some pushback. There's a guy that DM'd me, really blowing things out of proportion, but it was a fun conversation. So I just want to walk through what it was I talked about and then what he said to me. So the things that I said, hey, here's what 2024 looks like from where I'm sitting. So number 1, continued growth in the labor movement. Every industry is seeing efforts to unionize. I absolutely think that will continue, and it should continue. Workers' rights are not going away. People will continue to fight for that. So more strikes will happen, more unionization efforts, which also means more big companies trying to squash those efforts. I don't think that is a flash in the pan that we saw last year. I think that it is a growing movement that we will only see continue into this year and into coming years. So pretty straightforward. Number 2, physical and mental health will become more of a focus in the workplace. And really the way I framed this in the post was that as younger people are coming into the workforce, there is a higher demand for better access to healthcare, more affordable healthcare, better access to mental health care, as well as support systems in place at a corporate level. If people are having a mental health crisis and need to take time, you should not lose your job because you're having a mental health crisis. And I absolutely think that as younger generations are coming into the workforce, that they will fight for that, and it will happen because people already do not accept jobs if they have bad health insurance. I have turned down jobs for having bad health insurance. It is a must-have. Keep your beer Fridays, keep your summer Fridays. Those things are nice to have, but we need fucking health insurance, and we need to be able to afford it. I've worked in an agency where my family of 4, it was so cost prohibitive for us to have health insurance that I literally could not afford it while being employed there full time. I would not take home enough of my paycheck after paying for health insurance. That's not going to continue to happen. As younger people move into the workforce, we will not accept that. And then the last thing was around AI. So there's been a lot of news stories, and they've continued since I made this post a week ago, about AI and how it is not creating anything. It just steals other people's work and reconfigures it. It's pulling articles, it's scraping Wikipedia pages and then creating, in quotations, new content, but it's not. It takes images that have already been created and then it manipulates them. So it is stealing other people's work. I think there's going to be a lot more lawsuits around AI, and there's also going to be large companies who rely on AI thinking it can solve a problem and save them money, and it will lead to massive PR disasters. The best example coming out of last year was the Sports Illustrated CEO having to step down after they tried to replace employees with AI, and then he was forced to step down. As companies try this, as companies try to push more into using AI to replace humans, there's going to be fiascos that happen. It's going to be a nightmare. It's untested, and it is also stolen content. So those were the things I mentioned. I don't think any of it is that out of hand. I think it's pretty basic. So I had someone DM me. He sent me a message just essentially saying that I'm an entitled millennial for asking for workers' rights, access to healthcare, and regulations around AI. So I responded to him that yes, I am absolutely entitled. I am entitled to those things as an employee. I am entitled to, again, access to healthcare. I am entitled to workers' rights. As a person employed by a company, my rights need to be protected. And I am entitled to not having any work I produce stolen by a computer and passed off as being brand new. So yeah, I am absolutely entitled. And also, everyone else is entitled to those same things. No one should have to have their job stolen or their work stolen by a computer. No one should have to go to work 40 hours a week, and then not be able to afford the health insurance that the company provides, or not be able to use the health insurance because it doesn't actually cover anything. So yeah, I'm entitled. He blocked me after that. I really enjoy when people just kind of throw buzzwords around of entitled, calling out my age range, and then thinking that that is somehow a win against me. But it's not. We are all entitled to those things. You are entitled to those things. That guy, I don't know him. I assume he's an asshole based on what he sent me. He is entitled to those things just as much as anyone else. Keep moving forward. All right. If you made it 11 minutes into me rambling into a microphone in an empty room, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate all of the kind words that people have said about the show, all of the encouragement around just doing it. I appreciate all of the guests who have, without hearing a single episode, as of today, no one who I have interviewed has even heard an episode because I was so far ahead in recording the first few episodes. So I'm eternally grateful to everybody who just said yes and took a chance and gave me an hour and a half of their time. It means a lot, and it's encouraging, and it makes me want to continue. Please go follow me on some social media. I'm everywhere, either grind_pod or grinding to a halt on TikTok. If you could rate, review, subscribe, those things help me be seen. It gives me some sort of relevance when people are searching for new shows. If you have any suggestions on people you want me to blindly reach out to and harass to come on the show, info@grindpod.com. I will take recommendations there, or just start tagging me in people's posts on social media and tell them to come on my show. I am shameless. This is a one-man operation, so I will shamelessly plug at every chance I get, because that is the only way I will grow. So thank you for listening. I will have a good episode next week, I promise. I have a couple of really phenomenal guests lined up. So thank you for listening, and I'll be back again soon.